Okay, let's keep reading Last Gamer Standing. We are up to chapter 11. I barely had time to read the threatening message through twice before it vanished from my inbox. With shaking hands, I clicked the refresh icon over and over again, but every time my email came up empty. Had I just imagined the whole thing? But no, there was no way I'd dream up something so awful. Even my imagination wasn't that wild. Nothing you've learned at school can get you out of this. That made it sound like someone at school was threatening to dox me. Someone at Dayhold Academy had found out my true identity. Sweating, shivering, I lay back in bed, stunned. I'd been so careful about keeping my identity hidden. Who could have discovered the truth? Who could have sent a message threatening to dox me? If someone leaked my information, they could find my home. They could harass Mama, Bubba, or me. Or worse. My mind turned immediately to Nell, the only person who I'd ever even suspected of guessing that I was the Reyna. I dismissed the thought as quickly as it formed. No, not Nell. Yes, he'd made the connection between the Reyna's gameplay and the way I'd played at Liam's birthday party. That was super careless of me. But he only thought I'd been copying the Reyna out of admiration. Plus, Nell was way too sweet to go around doxing people. And I'm pretty sure he didn't even have the time for that, since all of his free time was dedicated to fanboying over the Reyna. But it was too much of a coincidence that the doxer had sent their threatening message right after Liam's birthday party. It was the most likely scenario. That's where the mysterious messenger had figured out my identity. A whole group of Liam's friends and plenty of strangers had seen me do my specialty move, and one of them could have guessed correctly that I was the Reyna. I couldn't just sit here spinning my wheels in the dirt as I tried to put together what had happened this afternoon. I needed answers, and I was pretty sure I could get at least a couple of them from one person. Flinging my door open, I rushed out into the hall. I had 20 minutes until lights out, when Mr. Porter would come punishing any students for being out of bed. I had to do something important before then. There was a curly-haired boy standing outside a nearby room who I vaguely recognised as Justin Tran from my advanced combat class. Glancing at me with a startled expression on his face, I was probably wild-eyed and looked every bit of the mess that I felt on the inside, but I didn't care. "Hey, do you know where Liam Russ's room is?" I asked. "Oh, make a left turn down this hall. He's the third door on your left," Justin said, pointing down the hall. He looked mystified. "Great, thanks." I sped past him and made a beeline for Liam's room. When I reached the third door on my left, I knocked on it. "Liam! Liam!" "Coming," came the muffled response. I waited impatiently, and some shuffling noises came from the inside. A moment later, the door swung open and Liam stood there in his pyjamas. His hair was mussed up on one side, like he'd slept sideways. "Oh, hey, Reyna, what's up?" This was going to be a strange conversation no matter what. Resigning myself to that fact, I continued. "This might sound like a weird question, but I promise I wouldn't be asking if it weren't really important." Liam shrugged. "Shoot. Can you give me the names of everyone who went to your birthday party?" He blinked at me, the surprise evident on his face. Everyone who went to my birthday party? Why do you want to know?" His eyebrows drew together. "Did something happen?" "Yeah, no, sorta." He leaned against the door frame, studying me with narrowed eyes. "You're acting weird, Reyna. Weirder than normal." "Wow, thanks. What's going on?" I bit my lip. There was no way I could tell Liam I was in danger of being doxxed. Revealing that was as good as telling him that I was a semi-finalist in the tournament. "I'll explain everything later," I said hastily, even though I was pretty sure I wouldn't. "Just trust me, it's really important. Can you just tell me who was at your party?" After giving me another long look, Liam shrugged. "Wish I could, but I don't even know who came." "Huh? What do you mean?" "I only invited you and a few of our classmates. Nell, Henry, Mimi, Sanjeet. I have no idea who invited those upperclassmen who showed up with Felix. They were pretty cool, though." He wrinkled his nose. "Except Francis. He was kind of a jerk." My shoulders slumped. Great, so Liam himself didn't even know who half the partygoers were. I was pretty sure that none of my classmates would dox me either. At least, I really wanted to believe they wouldn't. I opened my mouth to press Liam for more information, but the strange look he gave me made me hesitate. The last thing I wanted was to attract any suspicion. Okay, well, thanks anyways, I said, forcing some fake cheer into my voice. Why do you sound like a dying mule? I dropped the fake cheeriness. I do not. Liam grinned. That sounds more like you. Good night, Liam, I huffed. Then after a moment I added, oh, and happy birthday. Thanks, Liam said. Next year, though, I don't want cake. I just want you all to go easy on me and let me win a round of Dayhold free play for once, okay? I rolled my eyes. Okay. You should get back to your room. Lights out is in 5 minutes. After Liam and I said goodnight, I fast-walked down the hall before Mr. Porter could come prowling around. As I slipped into my room just before 10 o'clock, a thought struck me. Next year, Liam had said, as though it were a given that we'd all be back at camp to celebrate his birthday again. He didn't know it, but my scholarship only covered this summer. And now, thanks to this anon, I didn't even know if I could last the last couple of weeks of it. The next day, I woke up feeling less than refreshed for the third round of the Junior Dayhold tournament. The mystery of that message had kept me up way too late, and through the whole day into the late afternoon, I still couldn't stop thinking about it. My usual pre-game ritual of singing and dancing to K-pop failed to energize me today. Thanks to a combination of tournament fatigue, lack of sleep, balancing my schoolwork and altar count, and stress over my secret being found out, I was running on empty. I had a feeling that even the worst player at the academy could give me a thrashing. Forget being doxed, I was about to lose fair and square. No, you can't think like that, Reyna. Focus, eyes on the prize. I scolded myself, slapping both of my cheeks. The sting was painful, but at least it helped me wake up. This was an evening that called for some extra help. I ordered a pot of coffee along with a lox bagel. Bubba and Mama had never let me drink coffee when I was at home, claiming that it wasn't good for a growing kid's body. But here, there were no adults to boss me around. Soon, my tray arrived. I poured myself a huge piping hot mug of room service coffee and dumped as much milk and sugar as I wanted into it. This was going to be delicious. I took a big sip and choked. Belch. Blech. That's way too sugary. My holographic screen turned on as I was dumping the mug of coffee into the bathroom sink. I rushed back just in time to see Commander Dayhold's face appear on the screen. He was going over the rules of today's round, and I didn't want to miss anything. Evening, Dayholders, exclaimed the commander. Something told me my Commander Dayhold probably had a huge cup of coffee every hour. How else would the guy have so much energy whenever he spoke to us? The third round of the Junior Dayhold tournament takes place in half an hour, the commander continued. Most of the rules remain the same as the previous rounds, but there will be a slight difference for the semi-finals. This is a team round, with each of the remaining 25 gamers split into 5 teams of 5. You won't find out who's on your team until you've entered the gaming arena, but it'll be obvious once you do. You'll each be wearing the same colour armband, except for the team captain of each group, whose armband will also have a C. Your focus will be on taking down opponents and scoring as many points as possible for your team. 300 points will be awarded with the elimination of each player on the opposing teams, and 500 points for the elimination of the opposing team's leaders. At the end of the time limit, 1 hour, the team with the most earned points will advance to the final round, where those 5 remaining players will battle it out to determine the runner-up and champion. Teamwork. I'd always hated teamwork in school because it seemed like one person, aka me, got saddled with all the work while everyone else could slack off. I sighed, thinking back to the past 2 rounds of the tournament where I'd struck secret alliances with other members. Yeah, that hadn't turned out so well in the end, but this time all the gamers would be working in teams, whether we wanted to or not. At least that meant nobody could try to backstab each other, since that'd be self-sabotage. At least there was a time limit for 1 hour of the semi-finals, though. It was a relief to know that in 60 minutes it would all be over. After changing into my gamer suit, the baby pink one this time, and putting on my gloves, I did my best to pump myself up for the game. But it was hard to get excited. My stomach churned with nerves. There was a lot riding on this competition. I'd come so far already. If I got eliminated now, this close to winning the tournament, it would be devastating. Plus, there was the very real chance that one of the gamers would dox me. In the letter, the person had said they'd dox me if I didn't drop out before the final round. What if they changed their mind and decided to do it earlier? I couldn't let that happen. Not in this round and not in the final round. That meant I had two tasks for the semi-finals. 1, make sure my team made it to the finals, and 2, figure out who was trying to dox me and silence them somehow. Here goes nothing, I said as I stepped up to the screen, all suited up. With a flash, I was transported to the stage of the third round of the Junior Dayhold tournament. Chapter 12. The third round brought us back to the magical setting of the Wei Xian forest from the qualifiers. After I landed on the hard, dirt-packed floor, I straightened and quickly adjusted to my surroundings. It was a reflex at this point. The forest at night was dark and cold, with only fireflies to illuminate the path. The virtual world was still, with not even a whisper of wind disturbing the atmosphere. It was deeply peaceful. One glance showed me who my teammates were to be. 4 gamers dusted themselves off around me. For a long moment, nobody said anything as we sized each other up. In game, our suits had all transformed to the same matching vibrant orange colour. Additionally, red armbands had appeared around my teammates' left arms. When I looked down at my arm, I discovered I had one too, but it had a C on it, which meant somehow I'd been chosen to be the team leader. I gulped. I had no idea how to run a team, but even if these gamers would never listen to little Reyna in real life, they'd listen to the fierce and confident the Reyna in Dayhold. I looked around at the speech bubbles above the gamers' heads, which told me their usernames. Dragon, Amethyst, Dragon, Dustin955, and Felix. For a long beat, the 5 of us just stood there. I'd heard of all these players before and knew they had to be pretty good since they'd made it to the third round. But it was Felix who really caught my interest. All the rumours about his gameplay travelled around the scene. Plus, he'd basically declared war against me in the last round. At first, I was annoyed that he was on my team, but then it occurred to me that this scenario couldn't have worked out better for me. What was that saying? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. With Felix right under my nose, I could watch him closely to see if he really was as good as the rumours said, to see if he'd cheat. Maybe I'd actually lucked out by having Felix on my team. Dragon raised an arm in casual greeting. Dragon, yo, looks like we're on the same team, huh? The Reyna, looks like it. Dustin955, should we give ourselves a team name? Felix, let's call ourselves the winning team. We all stared at Felix. Dragon, wow, that's some confidence. Felix, what do you think we're going to lose? Amethyst, I don't see why we even have to do this in teams. Dayhold was designed to be a single-player battle royale game. The Reyna, they probably want a well-rounded champion, someone who can do individual and team battle. Dustin955, whatever, doesn't matter. Let's just come up with the game plan, stat. We've only got an hour to destroy the other teams. Felix, 1 hour is plenty. In fact, if you guys want me to handle this, I could take them out on my own. Felix's constant bragging was getting on my last nerve, and judging by the reactions from the other 3, I wasn't the only one he ticked off. Amethyst, if you're so good, then why would you need us? Go on your own then. No one's stopping you. Felix shrugged, readjusted the strap of his messenger bag and turned around to leave, but I rushed to block his path. He tried to walk past me, but I flung out an arm to stop him. Felix, problem, the Reyna? I hated confrontation, but I could tell that unless we got everyone on the same page, we were all going to be easy targets for the other teams. And no matter what, I had to make sure I advanced to the next round. When I spoke, I addressed all 4 of my teammates. The Runa. Guys, Commander Dayhold told us the rules this morning, and the rules are that we win this round as a team. It's only for 1 hour. Then after that, after we win and move on to the finals, we can fight individually again. If you can't do something like this for an hour, then you don't deserve to call yourself a Dayhold champion anyway. I knew that what I'd said would ruffle their feathers. Gamers were so proud to a fault, especially gamers who are used to coming out on top. Dragon, he's right. Amethyst, we should come up with a strategy. Felix didn't say anything, but he didn't walk away either. I guess that meant my message had gotten through to him. Dustin 955. We don't have time for a complicated strategy. Don't need one either. The rules are simple. All we've got to do is destroy the other teams. The Runa. Okay, well, we should at least agree on an attack pattern. Do we want to adopt a wait-and-see approach, or do we want to go out and attack? The other gamers stared at each other, then turned back to me. Go out and attack, said their speech bubbles all at once. No surprise there. I guess asking Dayholders to wait and see was pretty futile. We were attackers by nature, which was why we loved the Battle Royale format. The Runa. I think we have to be sneakier than that, since it's the finals. How about this? We can send out 1 or 2 team members as bait, and then the rest of us sneak up on the enemy teams when their attention is diverted. How many of you have cloaks? Everyone except Dragon raised their hands. The Runa. That's settled. Dragon, you'll be the bait. Dragon. Oh boy. The Runa. Don't worry, I'll protect you. I'll charge up with you. Amethyst. I'll protect you too, big guy. Dragon. Hey, who says I need protecting? The Runa. Okay, back to the plan though. Everyone activate your cloaks so the enemy can't see you coming on their heat sensors. Dragon and I will lead the charge toward enemy teams. Felix, what if other teams have the same plan? Then we'll just have to outfight them in the battle. Dustin 955. Roger that. The Runa. Let's do this. Don't get eliminated. We're fighting creatures in the game too. Don't forget. Right as I finished speaking, a Hu Ling Jiang charged at me out of nowhere. I sliced it in half with my trusty weapon, the Ru Yi Jingu. The Ru Yi Jingu Bang. When the demon disintegrated, I looked up to find Felix watching me. For some reason, that made me feel uneasy. Felix, nice work. The Runa. Thanks. Plus 50 points, my codex said as it took my demon kill into account. The bar in the corner of my helmet glowed and increased. Everyone except the dragon activated our cloaks. Our heat sources disappeared in my field of vision. We could still be seen and attacked by demons in the game, but not by other players, at least not until we were right in front of them. Hopefully this was enough to give us the element of surprise on our side. As we charged through the forest, led by Dragon and me, I kept an eye on the nearby heat sources and directed us towards the nearest cluster. My heart pounded with the electrifying excitement of running directly toward danger. We encountered the first team, a group of 5 gamers wearing all black. They either didn't have cloaks or hadn't activated them because all of their heat sources were visible. As planned, Dragon jumped on one of their players and they both went tumbling into the road. I engaged the nearest player, but the gamer was quicker to react and leap aside. Though the opposing gamers shouted in surprise, they regained their composures swiftly. 4 orange, 4 black. We circled each other, waiting for an excuse to launch into an attack. Before we engaged in combat, one of the gamers, his username Bubble said Knight Rider, who I recognized as another up-and-coming gamer, stepped forward. My eyes immediately were drawn to the black band with a C on it around his arm, which indicated that he'd been chosen to be his group's leader. Knight Rider, who's your leader? My teammates looked at me. I stepped forward. The Runa, that'd be me. Knight Rider pulled out his sword and pointed it at me. I stared down at the blade, proud that not even a muscle trembled. Knight Rider, team, remind me, what's a captain's elimination worth again? Runs on Duncan. 500 points. Knight Rider, boys, watch and learn. This is how you earn 500 points in style. I couldn't tell what it was exactly that irked me so much about Knight Rider. Maybe it was the way he called his whole team boys. Yet another reminder that girls were barely even acknowledged as players in Dayhold. Maybe it was his cocky attitude. Guess it was up to me to deliver. Deliver Knight Rider a much-needed reality check. The Runar. Team, leave this jerk to me. Take care of the others. Amethyst. Aye, aye, Captain. Around me, the sound of swords clashing filled the air. Knight Rider and I took slow, measured steps toward each other. Adrenaline thrummed through my body. I attacked first, swinging the Ruyi Jingu Bang in an arc. I aimed for Knight Rider's head. He dodged easily and then caught me in the stomach with a roundhouse kick. The force of the impact threw me back several feet, but I managed to keep my footing. Focus, I commanded myself. This wasn't a practice round. There was no room to make mistakes now. If I went down, the other team would have a huge points advantage. When Knight Rider charged at me, I brought up the shaft of my staff to block his attack. My teeth clenched together. My arm muscles trembled despite my suit softening the hit. Knight Rider, while I've got you here, I have a question for you, the Runar. He was acting so casual, like we were just two people having a pleasant conversation in the woods. This guy seriously was getting on my nerves. I gritted my teeth. The Runar. What is it? Knight Rider. Are you a girl? The shock of the question threw me off so much that my arms let up. Knight Rider took advantage of the slight opening and shoved me back. I couldn't stop myself from losing balance. My backside hit the ground and pain shot down my body. My staff spun out of my hands and landed several feet away. Knight Rider. Yeah, only a girl player would pull a pathetic move like that. Ignoring the pain pounding all over, I tried to leap to my feet to get to my Ruyi Jingu Bang, but Knight Rider stomped down on my chest with his boots. His persistency, his calling me a girl. Maybe Knight Rider was the person who threatened to dox me. I tried to connect his username with a real-world face, but unfortunately I had no clue who he was. He must be a player who was participating in the Junior Dayhold tournament outside of our school. Knight Rider leaned down. Even though I couldn't see his face, I could picture the snarl on it. Knight Rider, what's the matter? No comebacks this time? The Runar, leave me alone. Knight Rider, no can do. See, the point of this game is for me to destroy you. All the jeering brought back horrible memories. I'd done my best to bury them, but now they sprang loose. Boys bullying me because I had my mic on and they could hear my voice. Boys calling me names, calling me weak because I was a girl. Boys chasing me out of Dayhold. This time, I'd chosen to keep my identity hidden, my mic muted, but that hadn't changed things. Not really. Boys were still thinking gamer girls couldn't play, and someone, maybe Knight Rider or maybe someone else, had threatened to dox me. I was sick of this. Knight Rider kicked my leg, and the jolt travelled up my body. He knew he had me cornered and weaponless. Now he was taking his sweet time before eliminating me, taunting me all the while. Knight Rider, I thought you'd be a tougher opponent. Everyone keeps talking about how you're supposed to be one of the best players. Some team leader you are. Team leader. I twisted my gaze toward my red armband. I had a whole team depending on me to make it through this round. This was no time to give up, no matter what stupid insults Knight Rider or any other player dished out. I had to fight. If I got eliminated now, at least I'd go down fighting. Without giving Knight Rider a chance to react, I leapt up and caught him in the neck with a roundhouse kick. He shouted out a mixture of surprise and pain, using his back as a springboard. I leapt over to where my Ruyi Jingu Bang lay on the ground. Knight Rider was howling as he rolled on the ground, clutching his neck. I raised my staff high in the air. The Runar. I hope you've learned your lesson. Don't ever mess with me. I didn't hesitate to bring it down onto his body with a loud crack. He was still. A moment later, his body dissolved into thin air. Plus 500 points, Codex said. Even though I'd won the showdown and earned my team a slew of points, I felt no pleasure. Instead, there was only a sinking sensation in the pit of my stomach. Knight Rider's taunts had been annoying to endure, but I had no proof that he'd been the one who sent the email threat. And if I didn't do something about that doxer, and soon, the situation was going to continue spiraling out of control.